Hello, folks. Welcome to the channel. Today, let's talk some more about Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou. Okay, before we do that, let me put my analysis and prediction hat on. See where we go from here. Okay, let's imagine for a minute a no rules fight or MMA with some rules between Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou. Joshua will stand a chance against Ngannou, in my opinion. I'll go as far as saying it might only take 2 to 3 minutes for Ngannou to seriously hurt Joshua. And if unchecked, it could even be fatal. Fighting with strict rules is entirely different from fighting without rules or with flexible rules. Boxing has strict regulations, limiting fighters to the use of fists covered with gloves for protection. On the other hand, MMA allows a broader range of striking techniques and grappling maneuvers. Francis has dominated the MMA heavyweight division and transitioned to boxing, albeit a stricter rules. While not a professional boxer, he possesses boxing skills necessary for MMA, enduring heavy punches with smaller gloves. Just look at his bone structure and chin, he's built like a tank. Francis is not scared of Joshua. Forget about boxing with strict rules and only using fists. Francis has faced more skillful fighters than Joshua. Not talking about boxers, talking about heavyweights in the cage. The opponents Francis has faced in the UFC are a different breed of fighters, and they have more fighting skills than boxers. They have grappling, wrestling, almost like bare knuckle fighting. If they didn't wear a 4 ounce gloves compared to 12-ounce boxing gloves, which protects the boxers, imagine getting punched by a Francis with a 4 ounce glove. Francis is a confident fighter, and a confident fighter that believes in himself and has proved he is a very dangerous fighter. Never mind if he hasn't got the seasoned professional boxer's boxing skills. Francis already has some boxing experience even before he fought Tyson Fury, because boxing skills are part of MMA. When you have someone like Francis, who has proved himself in many years fighting in the MMA and destroyed many top MMA fighters, proves he's a formidable fighter. Even John Jones, one of the greatest UFC fighters, has avoided Francis. And John Jones beat anyone that went into the cage to fight him. For John Jones to avoid Francis says Francis is a force to be reckoned with. So, in a nutshell, Francis is not scared to fight anyone. The only downfall for Francis is a crossover from UFC to boxing. Completely two different combat sports. UFC with relaxed rules and boxing with very strict rules. So Francis will be fighting in a very strict rule combat sport. We know Francis hasn't got the technical experience as a seasoned professional boxer. But since the Tyson Fury fight, he has been training under the boxing rules with Mike Tyson. And with his confidence, determination, and background as a formidable MMA fighter, and when you look at his personal life story and where he came from and what he went through to get to where he is, have to have respect for this man. But we can't really analyze Francis as a boxer because he has only had one fight in a boxing match with Fury under the boxing rules. So he hasn't been tested. He hasn't got that technical and intelligent boxing skills. He might have MMA fighting intelligence in the cage, but in a boxing ring with a boxing rules is a different thing in way of fighting. Jabs, combinations, leg movement, getting out of tricky situations, controlling the fight, evasive movements, offense, defense, how and where to hold your opponent to drain his energy out, and many other skills. These take years to learn. Francis needs more time to learn these, more than just a couple of months. Real good boxers have at least 4 to 50 amateur fights before they can learn the skills that you need to become a proper boxer. Francis is hungry and has more to prove than Joshua. You want to make history, and he could make history. If Joshua is not careful, my theory is Joshua took this fight for 3 reasons. One, because the prize money is too much to turn down, and he thinks Francis will be an easy fight, and the winner will face Usyk or Fury, which will generate even more ticket sales and jump the queue to fight for the title. Another theory is Joshua avoided Hergovich and Wilder because he might lose and go down the ranking. And thirdly, I think Tyson Fury's eye injury was a smokescreen to delay the fight with Usyk to see who wins between Joshua versus Francis. Because I hear whoever wins will face Fury or Usyk and not anyone else. Talk about jumping the queue and generating ticket sales. If this is the case, then it makes a mockery out of boxing. So I analyze Francis, and the verdict is, let's make it 9 wins out of 11 boxing matches. Joshua should not think he can knock out Francis in the early part of the fight. He should use his boxing skills and keep away from toe to toe or exchanges in the middle of the ring. More about using the jabs to get their scoring going. And after 6 rounds, Francis will start to get tired. And then put the pressure onto Francis. Francis should not last more than 7 rounds. He will run out of gas. After this fight, Francis will be finished and Joshua to face Usyk or Fury. So what do you think, folks? Any comments, leave them below and keep it civilized, and subscribe. And give that like button a solid uppercut, just like Joshua is going to give Francis. See you next time, folks.